Welcome to Prepper Nation. I'm John. Thank you very much for being here this morning. I'm coming to you, of course, from the $1 billion bunker, Waters Family Homestead. Special thank you to you for sponsoring this morning's coffee. Truly appreciate that, brother. So let's get into it. Olympus has fallen. I think that's a movie, pretty decent movie from what I remember. But I'm actually, I'm talking about the historical city of Olympus this morning. And more importantly, the ancient metropolis. How's that for some word salad there, Kamala Harris fans? Just like our New York City. New York City is really our Olympus, if you will. That's the way future historians are going to see it. Now, I understand, some people think about this for a moment, okay? So when you're thinking about the United States and you live abroad, you're not in this country. You think about the United States, you say, name a city. 9 times out of 10, people are going to say New York City. Okay, they may say Los Angeles, they may say DC, and those cities have their own issues for sure. And it's going to get far worse than both, I assure you. But New York City is really the one that pretty much everybody points to, because New York City, as we've talked about in the past, really symbolizes what America is about, or what it used to be about. The ultimate melting pot. Immigrants came through, many immigrants came through, like Ellis Island and stuff like this, to chase the American dream. My own family included came through New York. And so it just has significant value when it comes to the United States of America, but it's over. It is officially over for New York City, and that's what we're talking about this morning. So many different reasons for this. New York City has lost. Now, this is since the beginning of the pandemic, and it's important that I mention that. But New York City has lost, since the beginning of the pandemic, 546,000 residents. Most of these residents were working class taxpayers. All right. 500,000 plus have left. Now, they left for various reasons. Again, business restrictions during the C-19. A lot of business owners, or, even people that were interested in running their own business, they said, we can't do it here in the city. There are too many restrictions. They've moved out of state. They've taken their wealth. What wealth they do have with them. High taxes. A lot of people have left because the liberal mindset is, if we run out of money, let's impose more tax, more tax, more tax. That's just the way it is. I mean, you can dispute it if you want to, but liberals like to raise taxes to pay for everything, right? Pay your fair share. We've all heard this 10 times over, right? Like we're not already paying our fair share here, son. Tax the rich, tax the wealthy, all this stuff. This is how they think. But a lot of residents recently, over the past year and a half maybe, have left New York City because it's just not safe anymore. And I think that anybody that's in New York City right now, any Beaverines out there in New York City, would testify to that fact. It's just not a safe environment anymore. This is, as we've said here on the channel before, this is not 1970 anymore, 1960. Things have changed dramatically. And sometimes I will see comments, well, you can work fast food and work your way through college. I did it. But the person leaving this comment, again, went through college in the 1960s. And really, they don't understand how much things have changed and how expensive college has gotten. You really can't do it that way anymore. You either have to come from money. I'm not trying to get sidetracked here too much, right? Or you have to take out substantial loans. And these loan companies are making money off of students. And so the reason I bring this up is the rest of the world has changed too. Public education has changed. The dynamics within cities have changed. This is not New York City from 1970 anymore. This is a totally different city, or what's left of it. The Fulton Center, I need to bring this up because when I saw this was specifically the info that I saw where I said it's over. Time of death, like on Grey's Anatomy, I'm looking at the clock. I said, this is it for New York City. The Fulton Center, which is in Lower Manhattan, it is a huge mall. Okay, for those that don't know, it costs $1.4 billion to construct this thing. It has, the transits and the metro and stuff, the subway running directly to it, people coming out of the subway up into this place. It is a huge mall, or it used to be. And so because of the subway, this thing has to remain open 24/7. And the city entered into an agreement with Westfield, which is a huge mall company, a national mall company. I believe the lease was for 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. It was somewhere in that neighborhood. This is why the city spent the money that they did. They wanted to turn this place into like just a central location where there could be dining, shopping. It on paper it makes sense. You've got a lot of foot traffic coming through, and so the mall said, okay. The mall company, again, Westfield, they're breaking the lease. They're out of there. They're closing up shop and they're leaving, and they still have 10 years plus on this lease. So this is a multi-million-dollar hit for them. And when I saw this, I said, okay, companies just don't do this. They, especially in the economy right now, right? The climate that we have right now, the economy. Companies just can't afford to lose millions of dollars by breaking leases, but they're doing it. And they're saying two reasons. Number one, it's not safe there. And number two, retail theft is crazy. They said people are just coming through, stealing, blindly just taking whatever they want, and they're going. They're kind of melting into the backdrop at this point. And they had stores begin to pull out, and it got to the point where the entire mall was like, we're shutting down, we're breaking the lease. So as of right now, I think there are two. It's sad actually. There are two or three stores left in this place. One of them is a shoe shine stand. Not kidding on that. And I didn't know those were still a thing, but apparently they are. And the city of New York, they have tactical police officers patrolling this place. This is how bad the crime and the theft is. Again, remember, throughout much of the subway, and they move them around, and it's on a certain schedule. I mean, criminals aren't that stupid. They're just going to work around the schedule, right? It's a dog and pony show. But they have the National Guard and the state police deployed. Well, here in what remains of the Fulton Center, it's New York City police officers. I don't think it's SWAT, but they're in full tactical gear. It may be SWAT. I don't know. Tactical rifles, the whole 9 yards. And they still can't stop the thieving and the violence from taking place inside this city center. So it's money wasted. It's going to be a money pit for the city. So what's happened to New York City? You've always had crime, right? For my fellow nerds out there, the Ninja Turtles. Remember that movie from the 80s? I think there were several of them actually. Took place in New York City. Again, totally different city, right? What has happened since that point? Recently, over the past couple of years, 2.5 years, New York City has had to absorb 175,000 illegals, newcomers, whatever y'all want to call them what you will, but New York City has had to, I'll explain that, has had to absorb these illegals. Again, 175,000. Now, you may be sitting there saying, no, they can just turn them away. Well, legally, they can't. And that's the problem. So they've been forced to convert hotels. We've seen a lot of this in the news and mentioned on other channels and things where veterans were placed in hotels temporarily, or homeless Americans in general, and they had to start kicking these people out in order to put these illegals in. They are now converting abandoned buildings all over the city into shelters for these illegals because they don't know what else to do with them. a lot of these buildings, quite frankly, are unsafe. They're going in, they're throwing paint on the wall, they're throwing some, some cots down and stuff like this. But they were never intended to be hotels or even shelters. And now, of course, like we've heard, I think it was in Michigan, right, and other places. Now they want to try and pay residents to home these people that are coming across, because again, they're totally out of room. Hey, take 2 or 3 in and we'll give you some food stamps to go along with you. So New York City has, and they have had this since 1981. It is called the Right to Shelter Law. All right, what does that mean? It is a legal mandate that forces the city's leadership, it forces the mayor to house illegals. So if illegals come here into this country and they're claiming asylum and they say, we want to go to New York City, all right? Greg Abbott is, of course, sending them to New York City. He can't get rid of them fast enough. He doesn't want them in Texas. So they show up in New York City. Once they show up in New York City, the city is legally obligated to meet these people when the buses arrive, take them to a shelter, make sure that they have temporary shelter, make sure these people are fed, make sure these people have insurance, the whole 9 yards. Again, since 1981, this is legal. They have to do this. They're giving these individuals prepaid debit cards. There's been some confusion on that. Some people said, oh, they're just getting credit cards. These are prepaid debit cards. This is for food. This is for baby formula. I think they can use it on clothes. There are certain places and things that they can use this on. There are stipulations. The city says these cards will help stimulate the local economy. I don't know about that because, again, Olympus has fallen. But as the law stands, there's nothing the mayor can do. The mayor cannot turn these people around. The mayor cannot ship these people out to another city. I'm not taking up for the guy. I don't like the guy, Eric Adams, but he is legally obligated to take these people in. And what this is, folks, this is an antiquated and outdated law that we have on the books, just like our asylum laws here in the United States. They're outdated. They need to be fixed, but they haven't been fixed. And so we have all of these newcomers, these illegals, showing up and claiming political asylum. Same thing is happening in New York. They're showing up and they're saying, hey, we're here on asylum. We need everything that you have for free. And legally, New York City at that point is on the hook for it. So the working class, the middle class, what's left of it in New York, at least, business owners and things like this, they're out. They're bouncing. They don't want to pay for this. The city will not go in and they will not fix this regulation or this mandate, right? And taxpayers are sick of paying for it. So they're just moving out of state. A lot of them are going to Florida. Some of them are going to Texas as well, and a few other states. And they're going to stimulate for realsies. They're going to stimulate Florida and Texas, those economies. And they're just en masse leaving New York City and New York State, quite frankly, because it's too late. Barring an all-out purge, a military purge at some point in New York City, it's New York City's finished. I mean, it's toast. It is done. And it is just the first of many cities that we're going to watch fall in real time. We're going to see it in our lifetime, I think. If you're still in New York City, I get that there are certain things. Man, maybe you were born there, you were raised there. That's the only home you've ever known. Okay, I'm not here to judge you for that, but at the same time, you've got to know who said this. Oh my goodness, Kenny Rogers, I think. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. There's nothing wrong with folding at this point and getting out of New York City because not safe for you anymore. If you're a legal, hardworking American citizen, you need to get out of New York City because it's not safe. You're not going to be able to live the American dream in this city. It's too late. Hard work is not being rewarded there anymore. The only thing that's being rewarded in New York City is lunacy at this point. And if you want to continue to pay for it whilst also walking around unsafe, I mean, that falls on you at some point. Most people have gotten out by now. For the rest of you out here in rural America, especially if you live near a city, because again, New York City, our Olympus, is only the first of many to fall. You better be prepared for the overflow, because there are going to be a lot of people spilling out of these cities, not trying to escape, not Beaverines trying to get out of there and better themselves somewhere else. I'm talking about desperate people. When the funding runs out, and the funding is starting to run out in places like New York City, when there is no more room, these people have to go somewhere, and they're going to overflow. They're going to spill over into neighboring counties, neighboring communities. And I really hope y'all are ready for that, because again, we're going to see it not just in our lifetime, but very, very soon. Okay, folks. Let me know what you think in the comments. Y'all take care. God bless.